The president is trying to address a very serious problem that our nation faces with regards to the fact that higher education, particularly public higher education, is becoming less affordable and therefore less accessible to more and more Americans. And so we have this, this real problem, this real challenge to how do we figure out how to provide, a better education at a better subsidized price for a better life for more Americans when we're facing the reality that our generation, our current generations, and quite frankly, probably for the next generation or so, is becoming increasingly less affluent, more and more people, to be able to afford a high quality education that's accessible to them. And this is a huge issue. I mean, we also have plenty of evidence and examples of increasing socioeconomic inequality in our country. And from the inception of the nation, just about, education, higher education particularly, is the way out for people, the way for people to access the American dream. So one of the first dimensions of a solution, for this is to appreciate that responsibility has to be shared. And as I mentioned before, one of the problems is getting people to accept the fact that we have to. The external stakeholder group leaders, the internal stakeholder leaders need to trust each other and have greater confidence in each other and accept it as a shared responsibility, accept this challenge as a shared responsibility. In this relationship is that we're really in it, let's say as a team, to meet this challenge. And so we have to all respect each other, and we have to work in an interdependent way. We can't be overly dependent one on the other. The universities can't say, oh, I can do this, I can improve the quality, and I can improve access, and I can improve graduation rates, but I can only do it if you give me a whole lot more money. All right? Or on the other side, therefore we're overly dependent on a very important sector. Or if the state says, we expect all those things from you, but we're going to take money. We're going to keep cutting money from you. We expect you to do it, by yourself, that you're the ones that are responsible for this. That's not going to work. So the idea is to respect the fact that we depend on each other, and each other's success enhances the collective success of the stakeholder groups together in service of students and the Americans in our country. Being in Washington and going and having these discussions and so on, that I was struck about how sour and dour the mood is, almost how defeatist it is. People's heads are down. It's kind of at the front lines, and I kind of understand that. But people got to get their heads up, and I get worried sometimes because then so we'll fix this problem, but we'll hold one sector totally accountable for this. We're going to put a scorecard up there, and then people start, looking at the scoreboard, and we're way behind, whether it's the federal deficit scoreboard or the state deficit scoreboard or the university's deficit scoreboard. And when you find in competition, when athletes are looking too regularly and too frequently at the scoreboard, having been an athlete, I know this, right? You're beaten, or your opponent's beaten when they keep looking at the scoreboard. So we have no choice but to get our heads up, to be optimistic, to trust each other, to have confidence, to accept shared responsibility, and move forward and take this on. That's a tradition of what this country was built on. But I think we have to ask the external price subsidizers to have greater confidence and faith in us, and to really give us credit for the things that we're doing well, and hold us accountable for the things that we're doing poorly, and give us a chance to tell them how they're doing. So it's a shared responsibility, even on a team. Good teams give each other feedback. You did a good job blocking on that play, but you did a really poor job blocking the other play. And then to the quarterback, you did a really poor job, staying in the pocket so we could give you protection. So there's all that. Strong teams give each other feedback, both positive and negative, but for the greater good of what the team is trying to accomplish.